Hello, my name's Vivian. I'm a volunteer master composter and today I'm going to demonstrate a DIY wormery. Wormeries are great if you're interested in composting but perhaps don't have the room for a traditional compost bin. They are quite small, so can fit into small gardens, courtyard gardens, balconies. So first of all I'm going to tell you about the materials that you're going to need. Then the tools that you will need to prepare the boxes. Finally, I'll talk about feeding and maintenance of your wormery. You'll need 3 rigid plastic boxes. They need to stack to fit together closely, and the top one needs a lid. You'll need some old newspaper, which you'll need to shred and dampen. You'll need a piece of damp cardboard, and you'll need some worms, about 250 grams. You can get worms from someone's existing wormery or compost heap. You can buy them online, or you can buy them at fishing shops where they're used as bait. The tools you'll need are an electric drill with a 5mm drill bit. You're going to be making lots of holes. If you wanted to put a tap onto the third or bottom of your boxes, which is going to act as a sump of your wormery and where the worm liquid will collect, you'll need a water butt tap and a 25mm flat drill bit. So, how do we get started? First of all, you're going to need to put some holes in the top of the top 2 containers. These 2 containers are going to be your compost trays. And as we've said before, the bottom tray is going to be your sump where the worm liquid collects. So, you'll start off by putting holes here around the top, and then you'll go on to put holes in the bottom. Commercial wormeries have about 1 hole per centimetre squared, so you're going to need to put lots of holes all over the bottom of your wormery, and this is how the worms will move between the layers of the wormery and how the worm liquid will drain down into the sump. I prepared this one a little bit earlier. As you can see, it now has lots and lots of holes in the bottom and it's ready to introduce the worms. First thing we need to do is provide somewhere for them to live. We put about 5 centimetres of shredded damp newspaper in the bottom of this layer. And then we add the worms. You can't quite see them here as they're all hidden in the existing compost. So I'm just going to tip them in, and hopefully you then can see them a bit more clearly. We'll cover these with the damp cardboard. You would then need to put the lid on top of them here and put them on top of the bottom layer, which will form the sump. So what about feeding the worms? They need a little bit of food to start off with. They eat about half their body weight a day, and we're starting with a small number, but that number will gradually increase. So to start off, these worms will need about a handful of food, and I'm giving them a banana peel and some coffee grounds in a filter paper. I'm just tucking that underneath the cardboard, and as I say, we then put a lid on that. Generally, worms like about 25% dry brown material, such as cardboard or newspaper, and 75% green wet material. So that green wet material could be vegetable peelings, fruit peelings, cooked vegetable leftovers, tea leaves, coffee grounds, and small quantities of green soft material from the garden. They don't like woody or twiggy bits, as worms haven't got teeth and they wouldn't get through those. What don't they like? They don't like grass cuttings, as these could go slimy and heat up and could damage the worms. They don't like large quantities of citrus peel, rhubarb leaves or onions, as this changes the pH in the wormery and again isn't good for the worms. Dairy products, meat and fish are not recommended to put in the wormery, as these could go putrid and could attract rodents. Again, cat and dog faeces is not recommended for hygiene reasons. So what's a day-to-day maintenance of a wormery? You're gradually feeding the worms, and as this box fills up, the worms will gradually be moving up to the top. When it becomes full, you then put the top layer on and give the worms some time to move up, and then you'll be able to use the compost in this first layer. Check your sump regularly. The liquid in there is an excellent plant food. You'll need to dilute it 1 part worm liquid to 10 parts water. If your wormery becomes smelly, it could be because it's too wet, so add some more brown material. Ideally, keep your wormery out of direct sunlight, as again, too much heat could harm the worms. And in the winter, move the wormery into a shed or greenhouse, as worms slow down below 10 degrees. Thank you very much, and good luck with your wormery.